Now sit back and relax as we join the MAP panel with your host, Brent Costello.
Hello everyone and welcome to our first show of the MAP. We're here to talk all things TSL football, and making their debut on the panel today, I've got Flash and Hoppy. Good morning, boys.
Oh, it's fantastic to be here, Brent and Flash.
It is. How's things, boys?
Going well, and a massive weekend of TSL footy, boys. Hoppy, you were down at Lauderdale. I think we're going to start with that game. What did you like about that down there?
Oh, look, I went down to the Bayside suburb of Lauderdale. Of course, sometimes you go down there and the wind comes off that mountain and blows the milk fair dinkum out of the cup of tea. But I got to tell you, it was a fantastic match. But at the kick-off, boys, it was very interesting. Lauderdale with their younger fleet. What I loved about the game to start with, they brought back the long kick towards goal, not going around. And it came back in spades. They had 5 goals in the first quarter. They're 5-4 to 1-2 at quarter time. And the momentum was really swinging their way when, unfortunately, Flash, there was a very nasty, unsavoury incident.
Yeah, no, I heard about this. Pretty violent, they tell me. It was... I don't know, did the incident change the game? I mean, I've heard mixed reports, like it was already changing perhaps, and then it just...
Well, as far as I can see, it did. I mean, Lauderdale had up all the running, and that might have put a little bit of steel into North Hobart, I think, and maybe shook them up and thought, wow, these blokes have fair dinkum, but...
wasn't it really 2 or 3/4 time, though, they came back, was it, the D's?
Yeah, what happened, as far as I could see, Lauderdale had all the running, actually, and up till 3/4 time, and in fact, in that third quarter, they had an opportunity to probably put North Hobart away.
1 goal 5, didn't they? And they just didn't take their opportunities.
And the shots that they had were, 20 metres out, 30 metres out, set shots, and I think then all of a sudden there was some belief from North Hobart. They thought, well, they haven't put us away, we're still here. And at 3/4 time, I went across and had a listen to Clinton there, and they came out. And the game was gone because they just came out on fire. They kicked 3 goals in about 4 minutes, and in fact had 8 goals till 3/4 time, and then just piled on 7 goals in that last quarter, and the big boys just stood up, absolutely stood up.
A hot rumour going around, boys, at the 3/4 time huddle. Mr. Brown said to the boys, no beers tonight if we lose this game. And they had the big mystery bus tour, I understand.
Gee, that's old-fashioned. Good to see the old
look what's happened, though.
70s, 80s footy back, isn't it, really? No frothies unless you're going to pull your finger out.
It worked, though, didn't it?
So
the one I was interested in too, guys, was Zeke Gardam, kick 5. He went off the rails a little bit last year, Zeke, so good to see him back in a bit of form too.
Yeah, if I could, boys, we look at some of their better players, and one for me was Justin Veach. Yep. I just loved his work. Long hair. He had the long sleeve Guernsey, had the helmet on.
Yep.
Sort of an ungainly looking character, and he played off the half-back flank. And I don't know if you blokes know, is there something wrong with him? Because no one went near him.
Really?
Absolutely, just carved him up. And he just kept on going forward and forward and forward, and he was fantastic. But I must then, on a personal note, I was very interested to see how a couple of young blokes for Lauderdale played their first game. 2 16-year-old boys, Sammy O'Byrne and Brent O'Leary, made their debuts, and they actually stepped up very nicely. So Lauderdale, I think Darren would be very disappointed. That was one that probably slipped through their fingers. But there's a lot of, I think, potential there.
Well, Darren said to me yesterday, interviewed him for work, and still thinks they're aiming for top 3, which surprised me because making the finals would be an achievement, I guess, after the last few years. So he really wants to make that top 3, though.
And as you mentioned, that what is good and what is bad for them, when I was down at the Oval there, I spoke to the president of the Lauderdale Football Club, Graham O'Byrne. I think we'll just cross to that clip right now. What are the major changes this year that have been happening down here?
Look, been a lot of changes on and off the field, mate. In particular with the board, there's a new board structure with a lot more governance around the board, and,
yes.
And each of the directors have a separate portfolio and some accountability at that level. So I think that all goes well for the future, and get some people really active.
Well, it was interesting last week when we saw the opening game of the season with 8,500. Now, we're not going to get that down here, but from what I've seen walking around, we've got a lot of experience with people like you who have been in business and putting that back into football clubs. And I can see a bright future. We were seeing some debutants today, including one Sam O'Byrne as well.
Sam,
is that a relation of yours?
Sam, oh look, it could be, mate. It could be. All I know is, Sam's been bouncing around the walls over the last night or so, and look, I'm extremely proud. I mean, he's really worked hard through the pre-season. I think he really deserves the gig he's got today, and I think I'm about as nervous as he is, to be honest. But no, look, we've got a few other young guys. We've got a couple of young recruits from the TAC over from Victoria, and 6'5" Hayden Smith, who's lining up at full forward. I think he's going to be a real bonus, and young Liam Sabry, who's who's got quite some silky skills as well. So a lot of youth and a couple of other good experienced guys, and Matty Smith, etc. So no, I think on the field today we've really got that anticipated excitement, I think.
Here's some thoughts from the faithful down at Lauderdale there, Hoppy. You got the final scores there and a good win for North Hobart in the end.
Yeah, no, it was. They showed that they're going to be a team that will stand up. And in one thought it was bad that they got jumped, but the good thing was they were able to steady and come away with the win. As we look at the final score, 15-9, 99 to 10, 16, very inaccurate by the boys down there at 76. Yeah. If I might say, there's one chap that I've taken a bit of an interest in Hobart is Larry Owen.
Oh, yeah, no, this is a good
How did Larry go?
Larry was good. I reckon that Hobart, especially in the first half, had a lot of ruck dominance. He's about 6'6.5", I reckon, and he's a skinny kid, but he looks like already he's got a bit of this going quite nice. He palms it well.
Did he show some fire?
Oh, look, I don't know if he was bashing and crashing a lot of blokes. He certainly wasn't running away from the contest, and he's good. He's a good kid.
No, I know him quite well. I know his dad, and he's a bit of a thinker. Smart young fella.
I think so. He looks smart.
How about, I know we're going over old ground, but I was out at Glenorchy a couple of weeks ago with the lights on. The lights looked tremendous. And everyone in the town was just talking, wasn't it great to go to the footy, 8,500 people. You couldn't see a blade of grass for kids kicking the footy. It was just like the olden days.
Was the thing, wasn't it? When Acker's trying to do a handstand, the kids are in his race. You have to kick him out of the way, and you see the footage as we've all seen. There's 1,000 kids around him. That's
when he was running off, I thought the kids were surrounding him. It was scary there at one stage. You couldn't get near him.
This is 35 years since Peter Hudson come back, or 30 odd years since we've seen some of this. I reckon. I mean, obviously it's a lot older than my younger age, but I can imagine that Hudson, when he came back from Hawthorn, probably injected a bit, didn't he, when he went to Glenorchy, and I don't reckon we've seen anything like this for a number of years.
All right, boys, that wraps up a ripping first segment, just quietly. We're going to go to our first break here on the map, but as we do, we're going to relive some classic action from the big opening game at KG5 a couple of weekends ago.
That play up was magnificent play, but gee whiz, didn't he get let down? Look out here! Acker's made his presence felt. He's put the skipper, Payne, fair back square on his backside, and he's gone in for the tackle again. By gee, look out there, Duff. Oh, there's been a little bit of bargy. Keep your eye on that one, Duff. Get those cameras going in there, Timbo there. He's zooming in close, ladies and gentlemen. I think Acker's hurt himself there, Duff. Look, he's gone to hands and knees. I think when he went for that last one, he's almost winded himself. I got a slight corky on the right thigh.
It was a fair bump on Payne, and China, we know, is a pretty tough player, and he went down, didn't he?
Wow, we know China Payne's a very tough nut, boys, but that would have hurt.
No doubt about that.
I talked to him Sunday. He's a good mate of mine, and he gave me a tingle just to see how he thought of his Clarence troops, which weren't Flash. And he said that was the hardest hit he'd had. He just got him in the right spot, didn't he? But as we just saw, Ackermanis, his tackling wasn't, and his body pressure was outstanding. He just knows his tackles stick. You know, and that's right. That's the quality I think some people miss. And China, he was down for about 15 seconds.
You can see Acker as well. When it came to the stoppage, he sort of hands down on the old shorts to get a breath. I think he knew all about it as well. It was interesting with Acker. I sort of thought, gee, he looks a little bit unfit, but occasionally had that ability for that second pace. There was just there, and then when you need to, just a couple of tackles to just pin them, just that pace.
And without touching on, we've talked about the Glenorchy Hobart game, of course, that it was interesting when he was trying to chase Aaron Hall one day, and Aaron Hall's got some serious toe, as we saw. But he almost kept up. He's still pretty sharp, I reckon. He's looking good. He's only going to get better.
All right, boys, none of us made the trip up to West Park in Burnie, unfortunately, because it's a lovely drive up to Burnie and a wonderful place when you get there. But Clarence made the big trip up there, the longest trip in TSL footy, and they took on Burnie, and gee, they challenged them too, the Dockers. Yep. Very nice. But Clarence ran home in the end, and speaking to Budgie yesterday, he had a really tough couple of training sessions with them during the week. Tackling was disgraceful the week before against Glenorchy, he said. So 2 players actually got injured at training, Charlie Rewalt and Jesse O'Neill. Couldn't make the trip, but it obviously worked.
Yeah, he did, and they've stung their gear, weren't they? Really, and because Burnie recruited so well in the off season, they look pretty sharp, and probably picked to be the big improver. So that's a tough gig to go down there, and to back up with a bit of pressure was pretty good effort by the Roos. So what's the Laycock situation? Obviously down at Burnie.
Again, speaking to Budgie yesterday, he said he was okay, did his job, but we'll get better. Still a little bit overweight, maybe.
Yeah,
so
a little bit underdone.
Yeah, a little bit underdone. So hopefully he gets a lot better. Speaking of games from the north of the state, also Launceston took on Devonport on the weekend. We're all interested to see how Devonport went after their turbulent summer, boys, and it was a pretty sorry scoreline for them.
Yes, it could be a long season, Flash.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, they've obviously had wholesale changes down there. Such a fantastic year last year, and you hear all these whispers and rumours about coaching panels, etc., players, and I mean they've lost probably their 2 best players to Glenorchy for a start, didn't they? And a couple of their veterans moved on to into the union up there. So look, tough year for Devonport, and obviously Launceston, as you'd imagine, who haven't really lost any personnel. Obviously, Big Myers gone over to WA, I think, but he might be coming back. So Anthony Taylor tells me, but his brother Marjek has come over. So they're probably they're not like for likes, but they've certainly replaced a regional player with a good one. So. No Derbyshire. That was interesting.
Yeah, I heard he was coming back for a while, but obviously that didn't happen. Yeah,
but he obviously hasn't come up. So, typically Launceston, of course, boys. Scotty Stevens, outstanding again on the weekend. The former Devils captain, and I think we caught up with him during the week.
Yeah, obviously we lined up against Devonport on Saturday, and the boys were pretty good. Ended up having a big win by about 27 goals, which is a bit of a blowout, but. Good from our point of view. Like the boys were even across the board and didn't take the foot off the pedal, which was pleasing, and especially the coaching staff after going through the game, they were very happy with the way that the boys went about it for the full 4 quarters.
And what's your role with the club these days? General manager, co-captain, captain. What are we doing for Scotty Stevens in 2011?
Yeah, I'm actually captain again this year, which is good. Really enjoy leading the boys out there on a Saturday, but I've actually stepped back from the club management role, but I actually work now in the football department. So my actual title is football development officer and head of football operations and development. So so that means I'm a lot more hands-on with all the footy stuff, setting up academies and taking training for our talented kids, which is good fun.
Launceston captain Scott Stevens there. Is going to be a ripping game at North Hobart this weekend, boys. Yes, a big weekend of TSL football, that's for sure. Now we're coming up to a segment which I think could really take off and be our biggest segment on the show, boys. Hoppy, it's our letter of the week, and you're going to read it out. It's an interesting one, this one. I had a quick sneak look at it before. It's from Jimmy Bogue of Upper Plenty.
You're going to pass it over to me.
There you go.
What about you, Flash? You haven't read. I've read the scores. I've read anything. What about I just do the old handball over to you, son? I know you're struggling with the cold, but listen.
Look, Jimmy Bogue. So, hi, I've been watching TSL football. Why is it TSL, not TFL? Can we just touch on that?
Yes, good question.
This has been bugging me this week. Actually, we should get back to that.
Let's come back to that one, Flash.
Well, yeah, it's something that does my head in. I've been watching TSL football for many years, and I'm rather confused about one player who plays for Glenorchy. It seems there are 2 players wearing number 32, as sometimes the commentators on the ABC and Hutch TV broadcasters call him Bo Den, as is Bo to your partner, and some call him Bowden, as in, hang on.
Now we're getting, this is the problem. Now, this is the conundrum that we face, Flash.
I may have been one of those people. Can the panel please set the record straight on how to say his name?
I'm a culprit. I've done it many times. So
it's going to end up here in the hands there of Chivers. Left foot at the hot spot over the back Bowden, over the back Bowden, over the back Bowden. This fella's been terrific.
We know it's Bowden.
I'm happy with
it's
that.
Mickey Bowden, it's his son.
Well, I was thinking, I used to play, it was always Mickey Bowden, so it's hard for him to have a Bowden.
I would have thought so, yeah.
Welcome back. We're here at Bellreeve Oval. In the summertime, this is the home of the Tasmanian Tigers cricket team, where the great Ricky Ponting and the 4'2" Tasmanian David Boone have strutted their stuff. But in the winter time, it is the fortress and the home of the Clarence Roos. And one of the reasons the fortress, because I have some fantastic players. One of them is here with me today. It's that strong, uncompromising, and I'm joined by Brendan Savage. Sav, welcome to the map.
Thanks, Hoppy.
Now, I believe that you're working over here at Clarence as the, what is your role? It's more to do with the juniors. You're getting through the talent development program?
Absolutely. Development manager is the title. And at the moment, we've got our RM Warby Construction Academy on the go here. It's an 8-week program where we look after the talented players throughout the under 14, under 15 and under 16 players within the Clarence zone.
Clarence has been such a dominant club over many years now. I think 1970 was the first flag, then there was a bit of a hiatus, and then just the 90s, it's basically been Clarence, Clarence, Clarence. So this is a fantastic thing that you're looking after the next few years of these young men coming through.
Yeah, it's quite a privilege actually, Hoppy. I mean, I spent my younger years watching the Clarence teams of old on the OVC and whatnot, growing up watching, you know, Darren Winter and Danny Noonan and the Coonies of the world run around. So to be, you know, in charge looking after the youth within our area, it's quite an honour.
Fantastic. Now, one of the things that you're very famous for, you know, you're a big, strong man, is sort of applying pressure. And some of those things is probably the tackle. I wonder if you could probably take us through with maybe some of the young boys a little bit about how to go through that process of the tackle.
No worries, Hoppy. Obviously, the tackling is becoming more and more important, especially with forward pressure and the press and whatnot in the AFL ranks. So the more instruction we can filter down to these younger kids, the more they'll be able to understand what's going on at a higher level.
Okay, let's go across now and join Sav with some of the young boys from the academy. Apply the pressure with the tackle.
Rightio, thanks Hoppy. I've got Ash Dickinson and Jared Harper here from the RM Warby Academy, and they're going to take us through a step-by-step way on how to tackle. Rightio, Ash, what I need you to do is get down nice and low, drive with your hips, drive the bag into the ground. Off you go. Very good, very good.
Which way will it go? Oh, great tackle there by Clarence.
Again, very important when tackling the opposition is that you watch their hips. The hips is where they're going to move. The more you look at their hips, the more control you'll have in the tackle.
Ball comes loose, Brownless picks it up, he's away. Oh, magnificent tackle by Jared Harper.
A byproduct of good tackling means that you're able to release the ball from a stoppage. Off you go. And goal scoring opportunities eventuate.
Oh, that's fantastic work, boys. Thank you, Sav, and thanks very much, boys, for joining us here on the map. I've just got one more challenge for you. Are you up for it? Yep. What we're going to do, we're going to put the tackle bag here on the 50. We want you to come in hard. We want you to tackle it as hard as you can, get the ball free, pick it up, and then kick a goal from 50. But just on the side, what we want you to do is put it directly through the goals and hit the bread, courtesy of Cripps the Master Baker. Let's go and try it, fellas.
Oh, our big thanks go to Clarence for being part of the map. And our very dear friend Brennan Savage has given birth. Well, he hasn't. His wife's given birth to a beautiful baby girl. Congratulations from all your friends here at the map. Well done, Sav.
One thing about that, we talk about that to me as well. It's the home of footy.
Yeah.
But say, I talk to my young blokes, as far as they're concerned, the home of footy is Bell Reeve. They don't see...
That's all they know,
If they play on North Hobart, I'd be tingling to think, I'm playing on that turf. If they are a matter of it's just a ground dad, but Bell Reeve's the one for them. And in fact, we looked at a DVD just recently at home, which was a 1979 grand final, Glenorchy v Clarence. I think, if you recall that, boys, there was 20-something odd thousand there. And my children didn't know what ground it was. They didn't believe me that was North Hobart. I mean...
That is the first show of the map. Thanks for joining us, and we're back next week.
A bit of pressure, he picks it up on that left boot. He's pretty good on that left, goes forward, and then there's a beautiful mark. Oh, if you don't mind.
Nicely done now. Oh, I don't like that handball.
He's given it the old dangerous one, out to the old Acker. If you're ever going to handball to someone in the forward line, don't handball to Acker. Players, a running player, up they go. Thurley didn't quite bring it in long enough. Oh, great tackle. Holding the ball, but Cox has picked it up. From his trusty left foot, here's every opportunity. Can play, but gee whiz, didn't he get let down? Look out here! Acker's made his presence felt. He's put the skipper, Payne, fair back square on his backside, and he's gone in for the tackle again. By gee, look out there, Duff. Oh,